The rain hammered against the windows of our Seattle home, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. For 20 years, this house had been a sanctuary, a testament to the life that Beat and I had built together. Now it felt like a cage. I'm Torsten, a software engineer, and at 46 I thought I had it all: a loving wife, a comfortable life, and the respect of my peers. But lately, Beat had been distant, her laughter less frequent, her touch perfunctory. I chalked it up to stress from her job as a marketing executive, the relentless deadlines and the demanding clients. I tried to be supportive, making her favorite meals, drawing her baths, and offering a listening ear, but she remained withdrawn, a ghost in our once vibrant home. The first sign, the one I dismissed as paranoia, was the phone. Beat had always been meticulous about her privacy, but lately she clutched her phone like a lifeline, her fingers dancing across the screen with a feverish intensity. She'd flinch if I entered the room, angling the screen away from my view, her explanations vague and unconvincing. "Just work stuff," she'd say, her eyes darting nervously. "You know how it is." But I didn't know. I knew the long hours, the late nights at the office, but this was different. This was secrecy, a wall being erected brick by brick between us. Then came the late nights, the business trips that seemed to coincide with weekends, the unexplained charges on our credit card for fancy restaurants and boutique hotels. Each lie, each omission, chipped away at my trust, leaving a hollow ache in its place. I tried to talk to her to bridge the growing chasm, but she'd deflect, accuse me of being insecure, of suffocating her. "You're being ridiculous, Torsten," she'd say, her voice laced with irritation. "Can I have a life outside of you?" One evening, while Beat was at a conference in Portland, I decided to surprise her with flowers. I knew the hotel she was staying at, a luxurious resort overlooking the Columbia River. I imagined her face lighting up as I presented her with a bouquet of her favorite lilies. I pictured us spending a romantic evening together, rekindling the spark that had faded. But as I approached her room, I heard voices, muffled but distinct. One was Beat's, her tone light and playful, a sound I hadn't heard in months. The other was a man's, deep and resonant, laced with an intimacy that sent a shiver down my spine. I hesitated, my hand hovering over the doorknob. A wave of nausea washed over me, a cold dread settling in the pit of my stomach. I knew with a certainty that pierced my soul that what I was about to witness would shatter everything I held dear. Still, I couldn't turn away. I had to know. I had to see the truth, no matter how painful. With trembling hands, I inserted the key card and pushed open the door. The scene that unfolded before me was like a punch to the gut. Beat was in the arms of another man, a man I recognized as Hans, her colleague from work. They were entangled in a passionate embrace, their bodies pressed together, their eyes closed in blissful oblivion. The air was thick with the scent of perfume and betrayal. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. My breath caught in my throat, my heart pounding against my ribs like a trapped bird. I stood there, frozen in the doorway, a silent witness to my own devastation. Beat's eyes flew open, her face contorting in a mask of shock and horror. Hans turned around, his expression shifting from smug satisfaction to stunned disbelief. "Torsten," Beat gasped, her voice a strangled whisper. "It's not what it looks like, really," I said, my voice flat and emotionless. "Because it looks exactly like my wife is cheating on me with her colleague." Hans stepped away from Beat, his face flushed with embarrassment. "Torsten, I can explain," he stammered. "This was a mistake." "Mistake?" I repeated, my voice rising in anger. "A mistake that involved my wife, my marriage, my life." The room swam before my eyes, the faces of Beat and Hans blurring into a kaleidoscope of betrayal. I wanted to scream, to lash out, to destroy everything in my path, but I couldn't. I was paralyzed by the sheer magnitude of their deception. "Out," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "Both of you, get out of my sight." Hans scrambled to gather his clothes, his eyes darting nervously between Beat and me. He mumbled an apology and fled from the room, leaving Beat standing alone, her face streaked with tears. "Torsten, please," she begged, her voice cracking with emotion. "Let me explain. It didn't mean anything." "Mean anything?" I repeated, my voice laced with sarcasm. "You were in bed with another man. How can you say it didn't mean anything?" "I was lonely," she sobbed. "You were always working, always distant. I needed attention, affection. Hans gave me that." "You cheated," I said, my voice rising in anger. "That's your excuse. You cheated because you were lonely. I'm sorry," she cried. "I made a mistake. Please forgive me." I couldn't forgive her. The trust was broken, the bond severed. The woman I had loved, the woman I had built my life with, had betrayed me in the most profound way imaginable. "It's over, Beat," I said, my voice cold and resolute. "I want a divorce." I turned and walked away, leaving her standing alone in the hotel room, her tears a testament to the destruction she had wrought. The rain continued to fall, washing away the remnants of my shattered dreams. The next few weeks were a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and emotional turmoil. Beat tried to convince me to reconsider, to give her another chance, but I refused. The image of her in Hans's arms was seared into my memory, a constant reminder of her betrayal. The divorce was acrimonious, with Beat fighting for every penny, every asset. She claimed I was being unreasonable, that I was punishing her for a single mistake. But I knew it wasn't just a mistake. It was a pattern of deceit, a betrayal of the vows we had made, the life we had shared. As I packed my belongings, preparing to move out of the house we had called home for so long, I stumbled upon a box of old photographs. They were snapshots of our life together, moments of joy, laughter, and love. There were pictures of our wedding day, our travels, our birthdays, and anniversaries. Each photograph was a reminder of what we had lost, what Beat had thrown away. I sat on the floor, surrounded by the ghosts of our past, and wept. I wept for the love that had died, for the dreams that had been shattered, for the future that would never be. I wept for the man I had been, the man who had believed in the sanctity of marriage, the power of love, the loyalty of his wife. As I drove away from the house for the last time, I felt a sense of emptiness, a void that seemed to stretch out before me like an endless desert. I didn't know what the future held, but I knew I couldn't stay in Seattle, not with the memories that haunted every corner of the city. I decided to move to Denver, a city I had always admired for its vibrant culture and stunning mountain views. I found a small apartment in the heart of downtown, a clean slate on which to rebuild my life. I threw myself into my work, spending long hours coding and designing, immersing myself in the world of technology. I also started exploring the city, hiking in the mountains, attending concerts, and meeting new people. I joined a hiking club and a photography group, finding solace in the beauty of nature and the camaraderie of like-minded individuals. I even started taking salsa dancing lessons, something I had always wanted to do but never had the courage to try. Slowly, gradually, I began to heal. The pain of Beat's betrayal didn't disappear entirely, but it dulled, its sharp edges softened by time and distance. I realized that I couldn't let her define my life, that I deserved to be happy, to find love again. One evening, while attending a photography exhibit, I met a woman named Scene. She was an artist, a painter with a vibrant spirit and a captivating smile. We struck up a conversation about art, music, and life, and I found myself drawn to her warmth, her intelligence, her genuine interest in me. We started dating, exploring the city together, sharing our hopes and dreams. Scene was different from Beat in every way. She was open, honest, and compassionate, a breath of fresh air in my life. She didn't judge me for my past, but embraced me for who I was, flaws and all. As our relationship deepened, I found myself falling in love again. Scene helped me to trust again, to believe in the possibility of happiness. She showed me that love wasn't a finite resource, that there was enough to go around, even after the pain of betrayal. One day, while we were hiking in the mountains, I decided to tell Scene about Beat, about the affair, about the divorce. I was nervous, afraid that she would judge me, that she would see me as damaged goods. But she listened patiently, her eyes filled with compassion. When I was finished, she took my hand and squeezed it gently. "I'm so sorry you went through that, Torsten," she said. "You didn't deserve it, but I'm glad you told me. It shows me that you trust me, that you're willing to be vulnerable with me." "Do trust you, Scene," I said, "more than I've ever trusted anyone." "Let's build something new together," she said, her eyes sparkling with hope. "Let's create a future filled with love, laughter, and trust." So we did. We built a life together in Denver, a life filled with art, music, and adventure. We traveled the world, explored new cultures, and created memories that would last a lifetime. We got married in a small ceremony surrounded by our friends and family, a celebration of our love and our commitment to each other. Years passed, and the memory of Beat faded, replaced by the warmth and joy of my life with Scene. I learned that betrayal can be a catalyst for change, that it can lead to unexpected opportunities and new beginnings. I learned that forgiveness is possible, not for the sake of the betrayer, but for the sake of the betrayed. One day, I received a message from an unknown number. It was Beat, Torsten, it's Beat, the message read. I know it's been a long time, but I need to talk to you. Can we meet? A wave of emotions washed over me. Anger, resentment, curiosity. I hadn't spoken to Beat in years, and I had no desire to revisit the past, but something compelled me to respond. Do you want Beat? I texted back. Need your help, she replied. I'm in trouble. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her. We met at a coffee shop in downtown Denver, a neutral territory far from the memories of our shared past. Beat looked older, worn down by life. Her eyes were hollow, her face etched with lines of regret. She told me that her life had spiraled out of control since the divorce. Hans had left her for another woman, and she had lost her job due to her drinking problem. She was now struggling to make ends meet, living in a rundown apartment and battling depression. I made a mistake, Torsten, she said, her voice trembling with emotion. The biggest mistake of my life. I threw away everything for a moment of pleasure, and now I'm paying the price. No, I said, my voice devoid of emotion. I paid the price too. I'm not asking for your forgiveness, she said. I know I don't deserve it, but I need your help. I'm drowning, Torsten, and I don't know how to save myself. I listened to her story, my heart filled with a mixture of pity and resentment. I knew I should walk away, that she didn't deserve my help, but I couldn't ignore her plea. I couldn't turn my back on someone in need, even if that someone had betrayed me in the worst possible way. What do you need, Beat? I asked. I need a job, she said. I need a place to live. I need someone to believe in me. I couldn't give her everything she wanted, but I could offer her a lifeline. I knew a friend who owned a small business and was looking for an administrative assistant. I offered to put in a good word for her. Thank you, Torsten, she said, her eyes filling with tears. You don't know how much this means to me. I helped Beat get the job, and I even helped her find a small apartment in a safe neighborhood. I didn't do it because I forgave her, but because I believed in second chances, in the possibility of redemption. I never rekindled our relationship, but we remained in contact, a testament to the enduring power of human connection. Beat eventually turned her life around, overcoming her addiction, rebuilding her career, and finding a measure of peace. I learned that betrayal can be a devastating experience, but it doesn't have to define your life. It can be an opportunity for growth, for self-discovery, for finding true love. And sometimes it can even lead to forgiveness, not for the sake of the betrayer, but for the sake of the betrayed. Years later, Scene and I were sitting on our porch, watching the sunset over the Rocky Mountains. I turned to her and smiled. I'm so grateful for you, Scene, I said. You saved my life. You saved mine too, Torsten, she said, taking my hand in hers. We saved each other. In that moment, I knew that I had truly moved on, that I had found happiness, peace, and love again. The rain had stopped, the storm had passed, and the sun was shining brightly on our future. But karma had the last laugh. A few years later, I received an invitation to Hans's wedding. Out of morbid curiosity, I checked his wedding registry online. The bride, Beat's younger sister Estelle. It seemed Hans had a type, and Beat's family was it. My ex-wife's affair partner was now marrying into her family. I couldn't help but chuckle at the irony. It was a fitting end to a messy chapter of my life. I sent a generous gift from their registry, a high-end espresso machine, with a note that read, "May your mornings be as bitter as your past." Life goes on, and sometimes karma serves a dish best served cold and with a double shot of espresso.